I got to find you a better picture. Oh, and by the way, you can change our score on that transparency survey. We've got our sighting information up there. So, unfortunately, I can't do anything about our state name unless we want to call ourselves AAA Washington. But I'll challenge the other states that see if you can drive Washington down to the bottom of the alphabetical list anyway. So, you know, that would make it pretty exciting if we can get all the states to participate more in the transparency issue anyway. So, you know, we would like to, I think folks would like this to be a point-counterpoint session, but you're not going to get your way on this. Robert here would love to play the role of Dan Aykroyd and me, Jane, but I'm not going to give him an opportunity to use that little comment there at the end. So anyway, but you know, you look at the data, and there really is, once you hear the stories that we have to tell, that there is some coherent sense to why the things they are and why the data looks the way it does. I can tell you that after Bellingham, the Washington program definitely changed, both organizational-wise and their attitude towards pipeline safety. We added staff. I came in January 2000. A couple of new folks came in late 1999. But prior to that, the only civil penalty that was issued was actually back in 1992 for $1 million, and that was to encourage replacement of cast iron main. But we went 10 years later until we saw our next civil penalty. The point being is that our program needed to mature. It wasn't in a place that I would consider where they were doing a very good job. Just speaking from being in industry at the time and not really knowing who the Utility Commission was or pipeline safety, and after I came on and noticing that when I first went out and did inspections that I was finding significant issues, and just being a rookie had findings reports that were 35 pages long. And so it kind of got to me think about what was going on before then. So we've been in a period for the last 10, 12 years of maturing our program and getting it into a place where we've needed to change culture, change attitudes, which weren't being addressed prior to 2000. So that's the reasoning for the penalties that you've seen. We used them when we thought we needed to, when we weren't getting the pipeline operators' attention. After we've did some necessary technical assistance or wrote other findings and allowed them the opportunity to get their program straightened out. So in the last, I would say, last 12 years, starting 2012, the Commission has assessed penalties in excess of $10 million, but have suspended most of that. In actuality, we've only taken in about a little over $3 million in actual civil penalty payments, and we've used that most recently to buy a mass media campaign, if you will, to encourage the use of Call 811. So we use those dollars effectively. But like I said, prior to 2000, we weren't doing a very good job with the programs we were tasked to do. So in that period there, you know, we've been in a place where Robert and Arizona were 20 years earlier. Right now in 2014, we've seen in the last 2 years there, the number of violations really curtail off. We're in a good place. We're not finding systemic issues anymore, and we're really now picking on the outliers now. So I think, you know, we've done the job the last 12 years. It's paying dividends now. We've used the penalty hammer when we've needed to, and it's not only the enforcement, but it's the companies have dedicated themselves to doing the right thing. And in fact, some of them have corporate goals that say that we'll have no violations when we do our audits. So, and we're starting to see a lot of that. So I give credit to the companies as well as the work that we've been doing as regulators. Those penalties, you know, we've filed, I guess, 28 complaints with the Commission. 50% of those, there were civil penalties attached to those. The other 50% were just strictly stipulated agreements between staff and the companies, which were approved by the commission. So, while money isn't everything, there's still those programs that we've instituted, had the companies institute so that we wouldn't see these things happen again. Now if we were to use a hammer, or I should say, the hammer in the past has been for those really significant issues. Thank goodness we haven't seen a lot of serious incidents where fatality. We've had one of those. We've had a couple of serious incidents where there was serious injury and some property damage. But we were dealing with things like falsification of documentation, refusing to drug and alcohol test, no quality assurance, quality control, their contractor oversight, things that have a significant impact. And you know how that goes. Every company has their own way of oversight. We have managers, we have people that watch the folks out in the field, and so at every level we have some kind of oversight over our folks, and we, as regulators, we do that for the companies, So we've moved into a different arena now. I don't expect to see that. We'll see the civil penalty hammer being used as often as it has in the last decade. I think we've moved to a different place now. And so you'll see that, hearing for Robert, that they've been to that place over the last couple of decades, and we're just getting there now. So it's taken us some time. I think we're in a good place now, and the companies are I honestly think, are doing the things that they need to do, and so we've been appreciative of that. So anyway, Robert, do you want to take some of that?